Hi, welcome to From the Rooftop, the online video magazine of the Publisher's Notebook. Welcome to all our viewers on Facebook and YouTube. And today we have a JIPO invasion. JIPO has taken over the channel today as a part of our pre-celebration of IP Week 2021. This is this month, April 2021. So, in the pipeline, we'll see what's churning there for the Publisher's Notebook. And our panel discussion is on why we should be concerned about IP matters.
Hey, I'm happy to announce the publication of my very first anthology of poems entitled One Voice for Many Hearts. Enjoy the journey with me. I'm Wayne A.C. Smith, in the pipeline of the Publisher's Notebook. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I am so happy to announce the publication of my very first book entitled Kingdom Mindset Builders, which aims to renew minds to live transformed and victorious lives. Come and enjoy this journey with me. My name is Daniela Blink, in the pipeline of the Publisher's Notebook.
As we said, it's a JIPO invasion. Okay, with us we have sorry guys, don't know what happened there, gremlins at work. Okay, now we're back. All right. So we have with us Lily Claire Bellamy, Executive Director of JIPO. We have Dr. Marcus Goff, who is the Deputy Director and Legal Counsel of JIPO, and Chantal English, Copyright Manager of JIPO. Welcome to our viewers also on YouTube and Facebook. So our topic today is why we should be concerned about IP matters. But before we get into that, I'd like to read for you what the schedule is for JIPO's celebration of IP Week, April 23rd to May 2nd. So on Friday, April 23rd, is UNESCO World Book and Copyright Day. On Sunday, April 25th, there's a church service at Gaines Memorial AME Church. World IP Day is Monday, April 26th. Designs Day is Tuesday, April 27th. Patents Day is Wednesday, April 24th. IP Enforcement Webinar, Virtual Shopping with Selected MSMEs. This is Thursday, April 29th. And IP Valuation and IP-Based Financing for MSMEs on Friday, April 30th. And there's a supplement in the Gleaner on May 2nd. Now, I'm sure all the parties here will flesh out everything for us. But before we get into it, can you each tell me what your role is at JIPO? Starting with Lily Claire, then Marcus and Chantal.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I have a little.
You need a headphone. You need a headphone.
I do. Okay.
Yeah. Unless the others will mute their mics and see. Let me see if that helps. Let me try. All right, try now, Lily Claire. Let me see if it makes a difference.
Okay, is it better now?
Yes, much better.
Fine. All right, thanks for that. It's so great to be back with you on the Publisher's Notebook.
Yes, we had a lot
So
of fun the last time.
yes, I mean, intellectual property is a very exciting and dynamic topic and subject matter, and one that all of us can benefit from. We at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office are really anxious for persons to develop more awareness and knowledge about intellectual property and how intellectual property is essential to their business. It's not an appendix, even though an appendix is important because it helps with how your body functions. But it does. It's very, and they have found now that the appendix is really a
Vital
necessary
to the immune system. Yes.
yes. So JIPA though shouldn't be an appendix, and intellectual property should be something that you consider whenever you're going to be starting a new business. It should really be the foundation of whatever you do, because perhaps what persons don't understand is everything that you're doing is intellectual property, and we'll flesh that out as we go through. So I won't
Okay.
launch into a long dissertation on the importance of intellectual property. No, but we at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, we're working from home now. So unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to tell people to come and visit us at JICO, but you can come visit us on our website.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get information about JIPA, and our telephones have been forwarded. So if you call, we will be more than willing to assist you. So I'm gonna hand
Go
over
ahead.
now.
Just give me the JIPO.
Okay, it's
Mhm.
www.jipo.gov.jm. So that's
Okay. Uh-huh.
www.jipo.gov.jm.
Okay, I'm gonna have that scrolling across the screen
Thank
so
you.
people can see it. Okay, Dr. Goff, Marcos, let's hear what your role is as legal counsel and deputy director. What do you really do there?
Right. So my role primarily is to guide the legislative process in terms of making sure that the IP laws are regularly updated and current with international developments and obligations, and that the enabling framework through the laws is one that is able to support the several industries that depend on IP. So that's primarily the work that I do, ensuring that the Copyright Act, the Trademarks Act, the several other laws and regulations, are fit for purpose. Um, Additionally, I also um, help to guide the policy development of the organization. So other areas of IP development that we may be embarking on. Right now, for example, we're doing work on plant varieties. I see you have some nice looking plants there behind you.
Yes, I'm a
So
plant nut.
okay, great. Maybe you're a green thumb as well. So we have an IP right working on right now, for plant breeders who have new plant breeders rights, for new varieties and that kind of thing. I also help to spearhead and to implement.
Okay, so are you working like in tandem with the Ministry of Agriculture with this?
Yes, for sure we are
Okay.
on that particular IP right, but that one requires both the IP input
Mm-hmm.
and aspects, but also the aspects to do with agriculture, horticulture, etc. So yes, we work closely with them on that one. I mean, it's not yet in place. It's a law that we're
Mm-hmm.
currently working on to introduce, but
Mm-hmm.
once it's in place, we will have the input of both ministries.
Okay. Before I get to Chantal, I just want to ask: is there a? All right, I'm gonna have to. Lily Claire, you and Chantal are in the same space.
Oh, I have to keep mine on. So
No,
when
no,
you
no. I can mute you from here. I just want to know if you're in the same space because I think so. That would have been the echo. All right, Chantal, you're up. Um, can you unmute your mic, please? Okay.
Yes, sure.
All right. Tell us about Chantal, the copyright manager. What do you do?
Okay, so I am the copyright unit falls a part of the legal and corporate relations branch. And so
Mm-hmm.
for that unit, we're responsible for reviewing and accepting applications for a person who utilize the voluntary registration service that we have here at JIPO, which is the depositing of works that are on the different categories for copyright. So like literary, musical, artistic works, sound recordings, broadcasts, cable programs, films. Persons can complete those forms, and I'm responsible for reviewing them, ensure everything is in order, and also promoting JIPO, assisting to promote JIPO through webinars and other seminars to ensure that the general public understand and are aware of intellectual property.
Okay, that's good. So walk me through the process if I want to register a copyright.
Okay, all right, no problem. So copyright protection is automatic. So it arises upon the creation of a work. So once the work is in a tangible format, an individual receives automatic protection. We usually recommend that a formal notice is on whatever work is completed. So the formal notice is the C in the circle, which is the copyright symbol, the author name, and the year of publication. So as I said, copyright protection is automatic. And so there are additional safeguards that can be done to ensure that the work is not protected, but safeguarded, so you have sufficient evidence to prove. One such is the poor man's copyright. The poor man's copyright is where the individual will put their work in a self-addressed envelope, post it to themselves by registered post, and they'll keep that envelope sealed. In the event of infringement, they'll take that sealed envelope and present it in the court of law, and that is when they'll show as their evidence. Alternatively, at JIPO, we offer the voluntary registration of copyright and related rights. An individual who wants access that or process will need to complete an application form, a declaration form. They'll need to submit a soft copy of the work that they want to deposit with us, whether it be literary, any of the categories I mentioned earlier. So if it's a book, they need to submit the soft copy of the book. If it's a song, MP3 format, and also send it to us through email.
Okay.
There's a small fee to pay. And
so that fee would be about.
All right. So if it is, if for example, I'll use books, as I saw your promo earlier, and if it is under 100 pages, 2,000 Jamaican dollars.
Okay.
If it is between, if it is songs, the lyrics of the songs 1 to 10, 1,500 Jamaican dollars. And if it is sound recording, if it is between 1 to 15, that would be 2,000 Jamaican dollars as well. And
okay,
right.
All right. So so I come to you and I say, okay, I have this book done, this, and I pay my fee. What happens next? You enter the registry in your database, I presume.
Right.
And then
right. So as I mentioned before, for the poor man's copyright, you will keep an individual will keep their work in an envelope, and at JIPO, they receive a certificate which is signed by the executive director, and that certificate would serve as evidence that they deposited the work at JIPO. As I said, copyright protection is automatic. So the certificate is not saying that they are not protected, because once the work is in a tangible format, they have received that automatic protection. And so the certificate would only serve as evidence that they have deposited the work with us.
Okay, if I were to, let's say for my authors, register copyright, can I register a copyright on their behalf, or do they have to come in as their publisher?
No, you can do it. You can do it on their behalf. So you'll be acting as an agent. So you're able to access the forms. The forms are available online, www.jipo.gov.jm, which is reflected on the screen. You go to forms and you download the application form and the declaration form. Well, there are many persons who like when we send it to them directly. So if it is anyone who wants to reach out, they can also email us directly, and we'll share the forms with them. We'll share the information in terms of the guide to completing the form, just in case they forget from our conversation. Persons are welcome to call. We will still be able to access the calls to provide information to them.
Okay, I see that you mentioned if a book is under 100 pages, but what say you have a book that's about 350 pages? What would be the cost of that?
Okay, so
I do have some authors that write lengthy theses.
The price range would not be significantly different from the 2,000. It would be a little additional, but it wouldn't be significantly different from those that are under 100 pages. So we're looking at
Go ahead.
Right. So I have to speak directly from the legislation, and I don't want to okay. So I have found it. I want to tell you the exact amount. I don't want to tell you an incorrect price sheet. All right, there we go. So 100, 250, it
Shaking the
would
table.
be $3,000. And
Okay.
each succeeding 50 page is additional $500. So
Oh,
it's still very reasonable, as I was
very
saying,
reasonable.
not too far up from the 2,000. So it would be
Okay.
3,000.
Okay.
Right?
So let's say again, as a publisher, would I be able to get? I would prefer if I am filing on behalf of my client that I am going to register the copyright for them and have a copy on file and give them their certificate in their hand. Is there a possibility to get a certified copy of the certificate?
Yes, you can get a certificate.
Okay.
What will happen is that if it is that it's co-authors, we could produce two certificates, right? So
Mm-hmm.
an individual can get a second certificate.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about IP Week and your celebrations that are planned. Who wants to go first?
And I think Miss Bellamy just we're in the very close proximity, and she said she
All right.
think I
So
should go first.
all right. So she just delegated to you, Chantal. Okay.
Because I know the reason why she said that. The first event is UNESCO World Book and Copyright Day, and so
Uh-huh.
that's the reason why I should have said I should go first. So on that day, we will be having a webinar and we'll be focusing on creating copyright compliance. That's the theme, creating copyright compliance through access, the Marrakesh
Mm-hmm.
Treaty. So we'll be focusing on the Marrakesh Treaty. On that day, we'll be inviting persons from the disabled community to join us, the Salvation Army. We'll be having UNESCO representative on that day. We will also be reading to persons from the blind community for the Salvation School for the Blind. We recognize that that community needs some assistance, some help in terms of, reading to the students. And so at JIPO, we decided that we wanted that initiative on that day as well as it relates to, World Book and Copyright Day.
Okay. Next
Right.
item.
We will be celebrating at the Gaines Memorial AME Church on the 26th, right? So we invite everybody to join us in church as we present the week, right, to the Lord, and we hope to have a beautiful week. So we're going to be having a wonderful church service online. We can share the link with
Okay.
everyone. We'll make that link accessible on our website so persons
Yes.
can join the service if they would like to do so. So that's the
Okay.
second. And then we move into Monday. So I think
Oh my
I noticed that Lily Claire doing some major delegation here.
Okay, I'll speak about Monday. I'll speak about Monday. Okay. Okay, so are you hearing me?
Yeah, man, loud and
Not,
clear.
hold on. Oh, I had it all turned off. Okay, all right, fine. I have muted because we're in the same room, so there's feedback.
Yeah,
Okay, you're hearing me now.
loud and
Okay.
clear and no distortions.
All right, so I will share with you a bit about World Intellectual Property Day, and then I will have Marcus. Okay, I'll speak about Designs Day because we're gonna really work Marcus when we get to the Thursday. Okay,
Okay.
so on Monday, which is the actual World Intellectual Property Day, we hope to have a formal launch of the week. Even though we would have had World Book and Copyright Day on Friday, but
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna launch the week officially now. After we get the blessing of the Lord on Sunday, we're gonna launch the day on, which is the actual World Intellectual Property Day, is April 26th. And
Mm-hmm.
just to say that this is not a day that we in Jamaica came up with. This is actually a day that's celebrated worldwide by all of the member states of the World Intellectual Property Organization. So it's recognized globally as World Intellectual Property Day. So the theme for World Intellectual Property Day this year is intellectual property and SMEs. But because in Jamaica we have a lot of micro businesses,
Mm-hmm.
we incorporated the micro businesses in the theme. So for Jamaica, the adapted theme is intellectual property and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises taking your ideas to market. And the reason I believe why the World Intellectual Property Organization came up with the theme this year of taking your ideas to market is because the COVID-19 pandemic has really affected the entire globe. And it has been established and recognized that the role of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises is critical across the globe. Some argue and suggest that between 80 to 90% of the businesses worldwide are micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. You, for example, at the Publisher's Notebook, you would be an example of a small enterprise. Um,
Micro, my dear, micro.
okay.
Soon become small. Go ahead anyway.
So, so it's the recognition of the contribution that these enterprises have and can make in the reviving of our economies, because you can understand the difficulty that a number of economies are suffering. I mean, there are several persons in Jamaica who have not worked since the onset of the COVID-19 in March of 2020.
Hmm.
So the idea of how intellectual property can assist a micro, small, or medium-sized enterprise to take what they have as just an idea and turn it into a business, right? It's basically converting your idea into something that you can sell and that can integrate into the economy. So we launched World Intellectual Property Day on April the 26th. We have already received commitment from the new Director General of the World Intellectual Property Organization, Mr. Darren Tang, who is a native of Singapore. He
Yes.
is going to contribute a message to our World Intellectual Property Day. We're supposed to have a message also. We have a new head of the World Intellectual Property Organization, and we also have a new advisory board chairman for the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. It's Mrs. Debbie Salmon. She's an attorney at law. She's our new advisory board chairman. So we'll have a message from her and from the minister with responsibility for the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, because we are an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investments and Commerce. So we expect to receive a message from Honorable Audley Shaw, who is the Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. So in the morning, we will launch the day, and one of our signal activities would also be the launch of our essay competition, where
Okay.
we're going to invite persons from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions to enter an essay competition. And we understand the challenges that people are having with everything being an online platform now. So we're giving them a very long time to complete the essay. So we launch it in April and you have until September. So it's
Oh,
yes, it's a very long period. We had a competition last year and we had participation from 10 parishes. And
that's
so
good.
this year we're hoping that all 14 parishes will participate. So we will share the title for the essay and the link for the essay competition with you. On Monday afternoon, we're going to be also having another webinar. And then on Tuesday, we're going to be focusing on designs. And we have quite a few well-known locally, regionally, and internationally designers here in Jamaica.
Hmm.
The one that I always speak about, I guess, because I have a few of the sandals, is Bridget Sandals. Um,
Hmm.
they're protected as
A lady
registered.
of style.
Well, it's supporting our
Yeah,
local industries, and that's what we
definitely.
need to do. And there are several other, we have Rev Jewelers, they've utilized our registry, and there are several others. I mean, I've only highlighted two, but we have
Yeah.
several local Jamaican designers who have used the registration system. And the good thing to understand with protecting your intellectual property right, and I mentioned it to someone this morning, and she said to me, yes, I know, because I've done it. A Jamaican, that is, who had a registered business in Jamaica. She was producing a product and there was an infringement, and she produced her certificate from the Intellectual Property Office. And the platform where the goods were, she said to me, they took it down. And I know,
Excellent.
Also for persons with registered trademarks, if you have a registered trademark and you hear an advertisement on a radio station for your registered trademark, if you send your certificate to that radio station, I know as a fact, since I've been at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, the radio station will contact you to share with them a certified copy of that registration. And then they will advise the person who placed the ad there that Sylvia Dallas really is the owner of this trademark. She has indicated that your product is nothing to do with her, and therefore we're unable to run your ad because it's contrary to this person's registered trademark.
Oh, wonderful.
Information we want people to understand how intellectual property, without having to go to court, without having to spend any additional money, just payment of your registration at JIPO and your ability to show that proof is one way you can secure your market, because basically what you want persons to know is that I am the authentic owner and I have evidence to show you that I am the authentic owner. So you should not be infringing my mark.
And it works. That's the important thing. It works. It's not like legislation without teeth then.
No, it works. And as you say that, well, I'm going to jump to Thursday, because Thursday is the Intellectual Property Enforcement webinar. On that day, we're going to be focusing on the different arms that provide enforcement. So we provide registration at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. You're the owner of the good. So who helps you with the enforcement of your property right? So we'll have the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And in Jamaica, we are very special because we have a dedicated arm of the Jamaica Constabulary Force that focuses on intellectual property enforcement. We also have Jamaica Customs, who will participate. And we have invited participation from the United States Embassy and the European Union Intellectual Property Office, because persons might say, why have we invited the US and why have we invited the European Union? Well, as most persons will be aware, the United States of America is one of our main trading partners. So they are concerned about intellectual property respect. And enforcement, you have registration and you have enforcement. So they're very supportive of the whole enforcement and registration procedure. The European Union Intellectual Property Office, we've invited their participation because most persons in Jamaica may have heard about the CARIFORM Economic Partnership Agreement with the European Union. There is a whole chapter in that treaty which involves all of the CARICOM states plus the Dominican Republic. And there's a whole intellectual property chapter that speaks about the protection and the enforcement of intellectual property rights. So we're going to be having a webinar focusing on the whole area of enforcement. And then we're going to have the ability for persons to shop virtually from some of our registered SMEs. So if you have a registered design or trademark, or you have deposited your copyright works with JIPO, we're going to be having a virtual shopping activity.
I'll bear that in mind for next year.
Yes. So you must ensure that you register with us and you will be in our virtual shopping. So
definitely.
We're going to invite persons to shop online and to support our local SMEs. And then we come to Friday. And Friday now, I'm going to throw it over to Marcus to share with you all about the IP valuation and IP-based financing. And he can also share with you, which I didn't mention, on the patent day when we're going to be looking at technology innovation support centers and utility models.
Okay, Marcus, before you start, we're just going to run an ad and then we'll come back to you. Okay, Marcus, you're up.
Okay. All right. So on Friday, what we'll be looking at, April 30, we'll be looking at IP valuation and IP based financing for MSMEs. So what we want to focus on that day is this, continuous problem of access to finance for MSMEs. And so we're currently focusing on a project that we're rolling out this year, funded by the CDB and the IDB, whereby we are trying to develop a culture of IP valuation and IP collateralization in Jamaica, which will see MSMEs be able to hopefully have increasing access to finance by using IP as collateral. So we'll be focusing on that project on the Friday morning, April 30. We'll be having a talk with some of the consultants who are working on that project to kind of change the landscape. We'll be speaking with some of the local financial institutions who of course are key, to be able to have them to share with us their vision as to how we can overcome some of those financing hurdles for MSMEs. And we'll be also talking with some of the policymakers as well who will be critical for this project moving forward. So that's going to be the final webinar activity on the 30th of April. And then after that, we just have the cleaner supplement on the final Sunday, the 2nd of May, where we'll have in the supplement articles on different IP aspects, as well as some of the speeches by our ministers and other officials, and ads from our stakeholders, etc., to cap off the week.
Okay, excellent. So it's a very exciting week for those of us who are so interested. So how can the public participate? Are there links on your website so that they can attend these webinars, or will you be posting on Facebook? Let us know. Did I mute my mic? Oh, sorry.
Chantal, Chantal can share on the social media.
Yes, for
plans.
sure. Right, for sure. We will be streaming live on Facebook. Will be right, and the links, everything will be accessible on our website. So persons, all the flyers for each day's event will be on our website, different platforms. We'll be on Facebook, we'll be on Twitter, we're going to be on Instagram, and so the information will be shared as it relates to that.
Or what I'm going to ask you to do, Chantal, is if you can just WhatsApp me the various links, and I'll put them also in the description for this video.
Okay, all right, no problem. And the general
Okay.
the general name is at Jaipo Online. So Jaipo
At
Online.
Jaipo Online.
Jaipo
Okay.
Online.
All right. I do have one or two questions that were sent to me, so I'm going to pick out some. One is, can I use a stage name to register my copyright? Anybody?
Stage name. So the stage name now would be a trademark that we would encourage the person to register. That would be their artist name, their performing name, their professional name. They could register as a trademark so that no one else could use that name in performances, etc. So it would be a trademark more than a copyright for that registration.
Okay. Does my work have to be published before I can copyright it?
No, because copyright protection is automatic. So you receive automatic protection once the work is in a tangible format.
Okay. There's a question. I know the answer, but I know this.
Sylvia,
Sorry, go ahead.
Whoops. Just one addition to the copyright question. We would encourage persons to deposit the published works with the National Library. That's mandatory. The registration at JIPO is voluntary, but once you've created a work in Jamaica, the Legal Deposit
Act
says you should deposit with the National Library of Jamaica. So we would encourage persons, especially your authors, to deposit their works with the National Library. It's very important for the purposes of archiving and so that for the history that we can know what has been produced in Jamaica by our authors.
Okay. All right. So this person asks, how can I get an international copyright? Is there such a thing?
so in the treaties, really, the Berne Convention is the copyright convention that speaks to international copyright protection, so that
Mm-hmm.
if you're protected in one of the Berne Convention member states like Jamaica, then you're protected in all of the Berne Convention member states. And there's no
Okay.
need for registration, as Chantal was saying, but you do have
Mm-hmm.
to have the work in some tangible form that it
Mm-hmm.
would qualify for copyright protection.
All right. We covered this in the
Just to
last
add
one.
to
Sorry,
what
go
Dr.
ahead.
Goff was saying, the only thing is that the U.S. office, one second, right, so for the U.S. office also require that they visit the National Library of Congress and also deposit the work. So
Okay.
as for other rights, so that's just different for U.S.
Okay. We did cover this in the last interview, Lily Claire, but just to reiterate, how long does a copyright last?
Okay, so it depends on the category of the work. So if it is in the first category, so if it's literary, musical, artistic work, it is the life of the author plus 95 years. And that was recently amended in our 2015 amendments. And if it's the
Okay.
second category, which is publication, is 95 years after the work was published, which is sound recordings, broadcast, and cable programs.
Okay. Last question. What can I do if someone else is using my work without permission?
I'm going to ask you to repeat that question because I didn't hear. I only heard the part about permission. So could you
What
just
can
repeat
I
the...
do if someone is using my work without permission?
Okay, the first thing that we usually recommend is that the person can reach out to the individual because many times the persons don't know that because there's no formal notice, there are persons who believe that because the work is out there on the internet that they're free to use it. And one of the rights of the copyright owner is to make their work available on demand, which is to make their work available on the internet. And so persons will see work on the internet and believe that it is free for them to use. That is not the case. And so we usually recommend as the first step for the person to reach out to the individual who they say is using the work and ask them to take it down, cease or desist. Or they can also reach out to an attorney at law who will be able to write a cease and desist letter to ask them to remove the work from the platform. And if the person refused from doing that, then the attorney could, take legal actions against them in the court of law.
Okay. All right. I think that is it. If you have any last words, we shall close off in a minute or two. Marcos, any final words?
Well, I mean, I think for IP Week this year, the focus on MSMEs is a timely one. We're always
I agree.
trying here to, develop different means of getting IP across, to the MSME sector. And of course, with COVID now, it's been even more challenging for MSMEs. And so, um, the IP Week this year gives us the chance to be able to focus on just some of the challenges that are being faced by the sector and some of the tools that we have that can assist. I mean, can't, of course, answer and solve all problems, but certainly in terms of leveraging your business and your brand, as I see you're doing here online through this wonderful program, it's something that IP allows us to do,
Okay.
and so the more of us who are able to see and to use IP in this pandemic, I think it's just better for the sector. So I hope that people can come and join us for the week. There's a lot to learn and to benefit from.
But I'd like to make or ask a question. Okay, considering that we have this program from the rooftop, we also have an event we call Big Man Talk and another one called Book Fiesta. Would it be prudent of us then to register a trademark for each of those events? Oh, and 4, we have Meet the Creator Festival. So we have 4 major events that we do.
Yes, they should. You should.
Okay. And
That's
how costly is this process now to
extremely
register?
inexpensive. When you made the application, what you need to understand is your registration lasts for 10 whole years.
Okay.
And for those 10 years, you pay the princely sum of like 1,700 per year. So it's 17,800.
What currency are we talking about here?
17,800 Jamaican dollars to register in one class, and you have that protection for 10 years, Sylvia. 10 whole years.
All right, Chantal, I guess we'll have to talk further on that. As I have to do this in stages because we won't be staying there, but we're still a micro business. So
No, but what you have to understand, sister, when you made the application for the trademark, you pay
uh-huh.
two tranches. So you pay 7,800 and then you pay the 10,000 after. So you have time to save.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
very reasonable. If you
That's
want to
reasonable.
protect,
That's very reasonable.
it is. And if you want to protect in additional categories, you pay 2,200. And remember, this is for 10 years, 10 whole
Okay, you hear
years.
that, producer hearing. She's also my admin director, so she has to keep me up to date on these things.
And,
All
and,
right.
and can I
Yes,
just
go
say
ahead. Go
what we
ahead.
encourage persons to do, anybody who is listening today or viewing, we'd encourage you to advertise in the intellectual property supplement because that gives you another opportunity to share what you're doing with a wider public. So it's worth the investment in the IP
Well,
supplement.
somebody need to send me some information on
We
that.
will send you the link and you can share the link.
Okay, no problem. Chantal, let's have a few words from you before we close. Or Lily Claire, you have to mute your mic, right?
Okay. We're still getting a feedback.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to encourage everyone to join our webinars for the entire week as best as possible because we have rich information for everyone who will be joining and persons will be clearer as it relates to the different intellectual property areas. Intellectual property is an asset, it's valuable. Almost everything around you in a particular room, there's intellectual property. And so we encourage persons to join the conversations. And so you can learn more about IP and how important and relevant it is to you. Many persons probably have intellectual property and don't know that they have money sitting around wherever they
Mm-hmm.
are, their houses, workplaces. So we encourage persons to continue to log on to Jaipur website just to look to see what we have. Also our YouTube pages, we have a number of videos as it relates to IP. And so I just want to encourage everybody to join in the celebration because we're in for a wonderful week.
Okay. And finally from Lily Claire. Okay, you have to unmute and okay.
Is well, sign language. If somebody's reading my lips, okay, all right. Oh boy. Well, at least if for anybody who could read lips, they would have understood everything. So,
Well, I'm out of that picture.
you see, and this is why the Marrakesh Treaty is so important. Because for
Uh-huh.
people who are print disabled or that
Visually
can
disabled, yeah.
see and they can hold. They could have those who couldn't hold might be able to read my lips. So what I was saying was it's an important opportunity for you to join with us and to learn about intellectual property and how you can use it to enhance your business. Basically, that is what it is. As Chantal and Marcus both pointed out, you're sitting on our unopened present and treasure. So we would encourage persons to participate and to get in touch with us for information.
Okay, thank you all very much for coming and being a part of our pre-IP week celebration. We were happy to have you take over our channel for today. And please don't forget to link us in your YouTube channel. Okay.
Yes. Okay, we will.
And we
And
thank
thanks
you.
for having us.
Yes, no problem. We thank our visitors for and sorry, now the home life has invaded. The dog has gotten in the show and the baby. So
He's welcome. He's welcome too.
The dog is welcome.
IP weeks, everybody.
okay. So thank you very much for coming and I look forward to doing more interaction with you. Because you know that as I told you, Lily Claire, that primarily the Publishers Notebook was all about intellectual property information and dispersing that information. So if there's anything we can do to help you through this program to disperse information, I would be happy to accommodate you. So without further ado, I bid you adieu. Have a good evening and thank you once more.
Thank
Thank
you
you to
too.
our viewers for tuning in, for those who are here and those who will be watching in the future. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.